I didn't think he'd actually leave me for her. That's what I need everyone to understand first. I thought my online flirting was harmless, normal, just how people interact now. I thought telling my boyfriend that everyone flirts online would make him understand it didn't mean anything. I thought he'd accept it as modern dating culture. I thought the hundreds of flirty DMs with other guys didn't count because they were just pixels on a screen. I was catastrophically wrong about all of that. My boyfriend, well, ex-boyfriend now, his name is Tyler. We'd been together for 4 years total, living together for 2 of those years in his apartment downtown. Serious, committed relationship by every measure that mattered externally. Talked about getting engaged within the next year. He'd been looking at rings apparently, had asked my best friend about styles I liked. His family absolutely adored me and treated me like I was already part of the family. Our mutual friends thought we were perfect together and used us as an example of a healthy relationship. The kind of relationship where people assumed we'd definitely get married eventually and have kids. But I'd been messaging other guys online for most of our 4-year relationship, if I'm being completely honest with myself now. It started maybe 6 months into our relationship, just responding to DMs on Instagram from guys who'd comment on my photos. Harmless at first, just friendly responses, but it escalated gradually over time into actual flirting, then explicit flirting, then sexual conversations, then exchanging photos that got progressively more revealing. Nothing ever physical or in person. I never actually met any of these guys face to face or planned to. Just flirty conversations on Instagram DMs, Snapchat where messages disappeared, dating apps like Hinge and Bumble that I'd never bothered deleting after Tyler and I got together. Sending photos that ranged from mildly suggestive in regular clothes to very explicit with minimal clothing. Getting attention and validation from strangers online. Exchanging increasingly sexual messages with multiple guys simultaneously. Sometimes juggling conversations with 3 or 4 different guys in the same evening. But it was all online, all virtual, all just pixels on a screen and words in message bubbles. Not real in my mind, not actual cheating. I genuinely convinced myself that as long as I never met anyone in person, it didn't count as betraying Tyler. The online world felt separate from my real relationship. Compartmentalized. Tyler had a coworker named Emma, who worked with him at the same tech company for 3 years at that point. They were on the same team, worked closely together on projects, spent time together at the office. I'd met her maybe half a dozen times total at work events and company holiday parties over the years. She was nice enough from what I could tell in those brief interactions. Pretty in an understated natural way. Smart. Tyler mentioned she had a PhD in computer science from MIT. Single, which I knew from Tyler mentioning it in passing when talking about work stuff. But I'd never once worried about Emma as any kind of threat to our relationship. Never felt jealous or concerned about their work friendship, because Tyler seemed completely loyal and committed to me. Never gave me any reason to worry or doubt him. Never seemed to notice other women or show interest in anyone else. Was always affectionate and attentive with me. Brought me coffee in bed on weekends. Remembered little things I mentioned in passing. Made plans for our future. I felt completely secure in the relationship on his end, even while I was messaging 5 other guys behind his back and sending them photos. The guys I messaged online varied. Some were from Instagram, would slide into my DMs after liking several photos. Some were from dating apps I'd kept installed just to see who was out there. Some were from Twitter or other social platforms. All of them knew I had a boyfriend because I'd mentioned Tyler sometimes. But they didn't care, and neither did I apparently. The conversations followed patterns. Would start friendly, progress to mild flirting, then more obvious flirting, then explicit sexual content within a few days or weeks. I'd send photos gradually getting more revealing, first fully clothed selfies, then showing more skin, then in underwear or less. They'd send photos back, We'd describe scenarios, talk about what we'd do if we met, build fantasies, and I'd tell myself it was harmless the entire time. Just online fun, just validation and attention, just pixels that didn't affect my real relationship with Tyler. I genuinely believed that compartmentalization worked, that I could have these online connections without it meaning anything about how I felt about Tyler or our relationship. Looking back now, that seems insane. Obviously insane. But in the moment, the rationalization worked perfectly in my head. Tyler had a coworker named Emma who worked with him at the same tech company for 3 years. They were on the same team, worked closely together on projects. I'd met her maybe half a dozen times at work events and holiday parties over the years. She was nice enough from what I could tell, pretty in an understated way, smart, had a PhD in computer science, single, which I knew from Tyler mentioning it casually. But I'd never once worried about her as a threat because Tyler seemed completely loyal and committed to me, never gave me any reason to worry. The conversation that ended my 4-year relationship happened on a random Tuesday evening when Tyler borrowed my phone to look something up when his battery had died. Saw notifications from multiple guys popping up on my lock screen while he was holding it. Flirty messages, suggestive emojis, asked directly if he could look through my messages to see what was going on. I should have said no, should have refused, but I genuinely thought I could explain it away because I didn't think I'd done anything actually wrong. "What is this?" Tyler asked, sitting down on the couch, scrolling through Instagram DMs with a guy named Jason. "It's just online flirting," I said dismissively, like it was obvious and not a big deal. "It doesn't mean anything real." "You sent him shirtless photos," Tyler said flatly, showing me my own messages on my own phone, photos I'd sent 3 days ago. "They're just photos. Everyone does this kind of thing online." "Everyone?" Tyler interrupted sharply. "Everyone sends half-naked photos to random guys they don't know while in a committed 4-year relationship. They're not random guys. They're online friends, people I've been talking to. You're asking him what he'd do to you if you met in person." Tyler read directly from my messages, voice getting harder. "You're describing sexual scenarios with him. That's just friends. It's fantasy. It's not real actual life. Everyone flirts online. It's just how people interact now in 2024. Tyler kept scrolling silently, found messages with other guys, started counting, 5 different guys total that he could see just scrolling quickly. All flirty conversations, some explicitly sexual with detailed descriptions, some with photos I'd sent. All of this happening while I was living with him, sleeping in his bed, planning our future together. "Everyone flirts online," he repeated slowly, testing how the words sounded. "That's your entire explanation for this?" "Yes," I said, feeling defensive now. "It's 2024. This is completely normal behavior. It's just online interaction and validation. It doesn't mean I'd actually do anything in real life with any of them. So if I flirt online with other women, that's perfectly fine with you?" Tyler asked directly. "I mean, yeah, as long as it stays online and doesn't become physical." "Interesting perspective," Tyler said, setting down my phone very carefully on the coffee table. "Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from." "You really genuinely believe everyone flirts online and it doesn't count as cheating?" he asked. "Yes, it's virtual, not real life, not real actual cheating." "Okay," Tyler said with strange calm. "Then you won't mind at all when I do the exact same thing." "What do you mean?" "I mean, if everyone flirts online and it doesn't count, then I can do it too," Tyler said evenly. "Fair is fair. What's good for you is good for me." "I guess technically, yes." "Great," Tyler said, standing up and grabbing his keys from the table. "I'm going to Emma's place right now. We've been talking a lot lately, messaging back and forth. Figured I'd see her offline instead of just chatting online." "What?" My stomach dropped instantly. That's completely different. How is it different? Tyler asked, turning to face me. You just established the rule. You said online doesn't count, so I'm taking it offline, seeing who I choose in real life instead of just pixels on a screen. You're going to see Emma right now, tonight. Why not? Tyler asked. According to you, online flirting doesn't mean anything and isn't cheating. So I haven't cheated by messaging Emma. And now I'm going to see what happens when we're actually together in person instead of just messaging. See who I choose offline where it actually matters. That's cheating. You can't just go to another woman's apartment. But online isn't cheating according to you, Tyler pointed out. You just said that repeatedly. So I haven't cheated yet. I've just been messaging Emma online, which you've established is completely fine and normal. And now I'm making it offline. Making it real. Making a choice. He grabbed his wallet, started walking toward the door of his own apartment. Where are you going? I told you already. Emma's place. We've actually been messaging quite a lot over the past few months. Work stuff mostly at first, but some personal stuff more recently. And according to the rule you just established, that doesn't count because it's online. So now I'm making it offline. Making it count. You've been messaging Emma? For months? Yeah, Tyler said, hand on the doorknob. Since you established that online flirting is completely fine and everyone does it, I figured I'd participate in modern dating culture like you called it, and now I'm going to see her in person. See who I choose offline when given the actual option. You can't just leave to go see another woman. Why not? Tyler asked. You've been sending shirtless photos to 5 different guys that I could see in 30 seconds of scrolling, having detailed sexual conversations with them, for months apparently based on the message history. And you say it's fine because everyone flirts online. So I'm applying your exact logic. I flirted online with Emma. Now I'm going offline to see what happens, to see who I choose. He opened the door. If you walk out that door, we're done. We were done the second you told me everyone flirts online like it justifies what you've been doing, Tyler said quietly. I'm just making it official by showing you who I choose when given the option. Offline, where it actually counts and matters. He walked out, left his own apartment, went to Emma's apartment across town, spent the entire night there. Came back the next morning around 9 a.m. to get his things while I was still there. What happened last night? I demanded the second he walked through the door, my voice shaking with anger and fear and jealousy. I chose Emma, Tyler said simply, calmly, like he was commenting on the weather. Offline, where it actually matters and counts. You slept with her. You actually slept with her. Does it matter? Tyler asked, meeting my eyes directly. You said online doesn't count as cheating, so all your flirting and photos and sexual messages with 5 different guys don't count by your own definition. And I went offline, made a real choice in the real world, and I chose Emma. You cheated on me. You cheated first, Tyler corrected sharply. For months, apparently. You just convinced yourself it didn't count because it was online and virtual, but I made it very real and very offline. And I chose someone who doesn't think flirting with multiple other people is just normal, modern behavior. He walked past me into the bedroom without another word, started pulling out his large duffel bags from the closet, started methodically packing my clothes, my toiletries, my belongings, everything I'd accumulated in his apartment over 2 years of living together. What are you doing? Moving you out, Tyler said without stopping or looking at me. This is my apartment, my lease, my name only, so I'm packing your things. You need to leave today. You're kicking me out. You don't live here anymore, Tyler said, folding my clothes and putting them in bags. We're done, completely done. I'm with Emma now, so you need to find somewhere else to stay immediately. You can't just... I can, Tyler interrupted firmly. This is my place. You're not on the lease. You never signed anything. We're broken up, so you're leaving today. Now. He spent the next 2 hours systematically packing up all my things, while I alternated between crying and yelling and trying to reason with him. My clothes from the closet and dresser, my toiletries from the bathroom, my books from the shelves, my laptop and chargers, my decorations, everything, methodical and efficient, helped me load it all into my car that was parked outside, made multiple trips up and down 3 flights of stairs. When everything was packed, he handed me my keys to his apartment. "These are your copies. I'll need them back." "This is insane. We've been together 4 years. And you spent most of it flirting with other guys online," Tyler said without emotion, "sending them photos, building connections with them, telling yourself it didn't count, while I was completely loyal to you, while I thought we had something real and exclusive, while I was looking at engagement rings, so yeah, we're done." He closed the door. Literally closed the door of his apartment with me standing in the hallway with my things. I left, drove to my friend Sarah's place, who had a spare room, moved in temporarily, feeling like my entire life had imploded in less than 24 hours. Within a week, just 7 days, Tyler and Emma were Facebook official. Relationship status updated, tagged in photos together. Comments from coworkers saying "finally" and "about time," like people had been waiting for this. Within 2 weeks, they were posting photos together at restaurants, on hikes, at his apartment. Tyler made it completely public and visible who he'd chosen offline. Made sure everyone in our entire social circle could see he'd moved on immediately and decisively. "Osaka sanin, tada tikiao and ansao." I tried desperately to tell people that Tyler had cheated on me, that he'd left me for his co-worker Emma out of nowhere, that he'd gone straight to her place and slept with her while we were still technically together. But he'd already told everyone the full story about finding my messages, about the 5 different guys I was flirting with online, about the photos I'd sent to them, about me saying, "Everyone flirts online," like it justified everything I'd been doing for months. And once people knew the full context, nobody took my side. Nobody thought Tyler was the bad guy. Everyone understood why he'd left. My friend Sarah was one of the only people who would even listen to my side of things without immediately judging me. "So he left you for Emma right after finding your messages with 5 other guys?" she asked when I explained everything to her. "He went straight to her apartment that same night." "After finding out you'd been flirting with multiple guys for months," Sarah interrupted, making sure she understood correctly. "After you told him everyone flirts online and it doesn't count as cheating. But online is different than actually physically sleeping with someone." "Is it?" Sarah asked directly. "Is it really that different? You were having detailed sexual conversations with multiple men, sending them photos of yourself, building emotional and sexual connections with other people behind Tyler's back. That's not cheating just because you didn't physically meet them in person. It's virtual, it's not real. It's still betrayal," Sarah said bluntly, not letting me off the hook. "You were investing emotional and sexual energy into other people. You were seeking validation and attention from men who weren't your boyfriend. That's cheating even if it happens through a screen." "But he didn't have to immediately go sleep with Emma." "Didn't he though?" Sarah asked. "You told him everyone flirts online and it doesn't count. You established that rule. You justified your behavior with it. So he applied the same logic. He'd been messaging Emma online, which by your rule doesn't count. So he took it offline to see what happened in real life. He was looking for an excuse. Or he was showing you how your logic sounds when it's applied to him," Sarah countered. "You can't have it both ways. You can't say online doesn't count when you're doing it, but then get mad when he does the exact same thing and makes it real." She paused, looking at me carefully. "Did you really think what you were doing was okay?" I hesitated. "I thought it was just harmless fun, just online attention. Everyone does it now." "Everyone doesn't do it," Sarah interrupted firmly. "People in committed relationships don't do it. You were cheating. You just convinced yourself it was fine because it was digital instead of physical." She was right. I had been cheating emotionally and sexually, I'd just rationalized it by telling myself online didn't count, that pixels weren't real, that as long as I never met anyone in person, I wasn't actually doing anything wrong. But I had been. I'd been betraying Tyler emotionally and sexually for months, for most of our relationship actually, building connections with other men behind his back, seeking sexual attention and validation elsewhere. And when he found out and confronted me, I'd tried desperately to minimize it by saying everyone flirts online, and it doesn't count. So he'd shown me in the most direct way possible what it actually meant. He'd taken something that was online, his messaging with Emma that had apparently been happening, and made it offline and real, made it physical, made a clear choice, and he'd chosen her over me, chosen someone who valued exclusive commitment over someone who thought online flirting with multiple people was just normal. I tried for weeks to get Tyler to talk to me, to give me another chance, to hear me out. Sent him long, apologetic texts, called and left voicemails, showed up at his apartment building. He ignored everything, blocked my number eventually, made it clear through his silence that we were completely done, and there was no coming back from what I'd done. I tried to explain to mutual friends that Tyler had overreacted, that what I did online wasn't as bad as him actually sleeping with Emma, but nobody agreed with me. Everyone who knew the full story, about my months of messaging 5 different guys, about the photos, about me saying everyone flirts online, sided with Tyler. Understood why he'd left, thought he was completely justified. One of his friends actually told me to my face, "You spent months cheating online and told Tyler it didn't count, so he went offline and chose someone else. You don't get to be mad about that. You set the precedent that online doesn't matter. He just proved it does by making a real choice." And he was right. They were all right. I'd been wrong about everything. I think about all the time Tyler and I wasted while I was doing this behind his back. All the dinners where I'd be messaging other guys under the table. All the mornings where he'd bring me coffee while I had sexual conversations happening on my phone. All the times he'd talk about our future while I was getting validation from strangers online. I think about how he must have felt looking through those messages, seeing months of conversations, realizing I'd been doing this throughout our relationship, seeing the photos I'd sent, reading the sexual content, understanding that while he was being completely faithful and thinking about proposing, I was building connections with multiple other men. I think about the engagement ring he'd apparently been looking at, about asking my best friend what styles I liked, about planning to propose within the next year, about the future we'd been building that I'd destroyed with my online behavior I convinced myself didn't matter. Now Tyler has built that future with Emma instead. They're living together. They're happy. They're committed to each other exclusively. They trust each other completely. They post about their adventures together. They've met each other's extended families. They look at each other in photos the way Tyler used to look at me before I destroyed it. And I have nothing except the painful lesson I learned far too late to save what I had. The apartment they share now is nicer than the one Tyler had when we lived together. I've seen it in background of their photos. Bigger space, better location, 2 bedrooms instead of 1. They decorated it together. Built a home together from scratch. Everything we should have been doing. I see them sometimes on social media doing things we used to talk about doing. That hiking trip to Colorado we'd planned for years but never took. They went last month. The cooking class I'd mentioned wanting to try. They took it together for her birthday. The weekend trips to wineries we'd discussed. They do those regularly now and post photos. It's like Tyler took all the plans we'd made and did them with someone who actually appreciated him enough to stay faithful. Someone who didn't need validation from 5 other guys to feel good about herself. Someone who thought he alone was enough. And the worst part is, I can't even be mad at Emma. She didn't steal my boyfriend. I pushed him away with my behavior. I showed him I didn't value him or our relationship. I told him online, flirting didn't count, so he made a real offline choice. Emma was just there, loyal, trustworthy, actually interested in exclusive commitment. Everything I should have been and wasn't. My online conversations with those guys feel so empty now. So meaningless. I can't even remember most of their names. Jason, I remember because Tyler saw those messages first. But the other four, they've blurred together into nothing. Strangers who gave me temporary validation that I prioritized over a real relationship with someone who actually loved me and wanted to build a life with me. The photos I sent them, the ones I thought were just harmless online fun, represented real betrayal. Each photo was me choosing attention from strangers over loyalty to Tyler. Each sexual conversation was me investing emotional and sexual energy outside our relationship. Each flirty message was me violating the trust and commitment we'd promised each other. And I did it for months. Maybe years if I'm completely honest about when it really started escalating. While Tyler was completely faithful. While he was planning our future together. While he was looking at engagement rings. While he was being exactly the partner I should have appreciated and valued instead of taking completely for granted. I joked that everyone flirts online when Tyler found my messages with 5 different guys on a random Tuesday evening. Thought it was a valid excuse that would make sense to him. Thought I could minimize months of betrayal by calling it normal modern dating culture. Thought everyone does it would make my behavior acceptable and understandable. Thought he'd just accept it and we'd move forward. Tyler didn't argue with me about whether everyone flirts online. Didn't debate the philosophy of digital betrayal versus physical cheating. Didn't try to explain why I was wrong or lecture me about commitment. He simply demonstrated what offline meant. Left for Emma's place that same night. Spent the night with her. Came back and kicked me out of his apartment the next morning. Started publicly dating her within a week. Made it Facebook official immediately. Posted photos together for everyone to see. Showed our entire social circle who he'd chosen in real life, where it actually counted and mattered. And he taught me the hardest, most painful lesson I've ever learned in my life. That online absolutely counts as real betrayal. That emotional cheating is still cheating even when it happens through a screen. That seeking sexual attention from multiple other people is a violation of trust regardless of whether you physically meet them in person. That you can't betray someone digitally for months and then call it harmless or normal. That everyone flirts online is a complete lie that cheaters tell themselves to justify unacceptable behavior. That pixels on a screen represent real choices, real betrayal, and real consequences. I learned by losing absolutely everything I valued and cared about. By destroying my 4-year relationship with my online behavior that I'd convinced myself didn't matter. By watching Tyler choose someone else offline in real life. By sitting alone in Sarah's spare room with all my belongings in boxes and bags. By understanding too late that what I had with Tyler was real and valuable and irreplaceable, and I threw it all away for fake validation from strangers who meant absolutely nothing. It's been 11 months since Tyler left me. 11 months since I joked that everyone flirts online, and he showed everyone who he chose offline where it actually mattered. He's still with Emma. They moved in together about 4 months ago into a new apartment they got together. Happy from everything I can see on social media, and I look at their profiles more than I should admit. Building the exact life we'd planned together, going on trips, meeting each other's extended families, posting couple photos with captions about being happy and in love. Everything that should have been us. I tried dating after Tyler left, downloaded the same apps where I'd been messaging guys while with Tyler, but this time I was actually single. Went on maybe 20 first dates over 6 months, couldn't connect with anyone, couldn't find what I'd had with Tyler, couldn't stop comparing everyone to him. The irony isn't lost on me. I had Tyler, loyal, committed, loving Tyler who wanted to marry me, and I threw it away for online attention from random guys I never even met. Now I'm actually single and those online conversations feel hollow and meaningless in ways I couldn't see before. I think about that conversation constantly. It plays on loop in my head during bad moments, about telling him everyone flirts online like it was a valid excuse, about watching his face as he scrolled through my messages with multiple guys, about him calmly saying he was going to Emma's place, about me realizing too late what was happening, about him leaving and not coming back except to kick me out. I think about the moment he came back the next morning, about asking what happened and him saying simply, "I chose Emma," offline, where it actually matters, about the finality in his voice, about him packing my things and making me leave his apartment, about watching 4 years disappear in one night. I understand now, with painful clarity, what I did wrong on every level. I cheated emotionally and sexually through online interactions with multiple men for months. I convinced myself it didn't count as real cheating because it wasn't physical and in person. I prioritized getting attention and validation from strangers over my actual committed relationship. I violated Tyler's trust repeatedly over extended time. I took his loyalty completely for granted while I was being disloyal, and I understand completely why he left the way he did, why he went to Emma immediately that same night, why he chose her offline, why he made it public and real within days. Because I'd shown him definitively that I didn't value our relationship or respect our commitment. Because I'd told him my online behavior was normal and fine. Everyone flirts online. Because I'd essentially given him permission to do whatever he wanted by establishing that online interactions didn't count as betrayal. Because I'd been emotionally investing in 5 other guys while he'd been faithful and planning our future. The "everyone flirts online" excuse sounds so hollow now. So obviously false. Everyone doesn't flirt online while in committed relationships. People who actually value their partners don't do what I did. People who want to stay together don't build sexual and emotional connections with multiple other people behind their partner's back. I'd convinced myself it was harmless because it was digital, because the guys were strangers I'd never meet, because it was just validation and just attention and just online. But it wasn't harmless. It was betrayal. It was cheating. It was showing Tyler that I didn't think he was enough, that I needed sexual attention from other men to feel validated, that our relationship wasn't satisfying me, even though he was doing everything right. And Tyler showed me what that meant by applying my logic. He'd been messaging Emma, which by my rules didn't count because it was online, so he took it offline, made it real, made a choice, and he chose her. Someone who apparently values commitment and loyalty. Someone who doesn't think flirting with other people is just normal modern behavior. Someone who thinks he's enough without needing validation from strangers online. I joked that everyone flirts online when Tyler found my messages with 5 different guys. Thought it was a valid excuse that he'd understand and accept. Thought I could minimize what I'd been doing by calling it normal modern dating culture. Thought everyone does it would make it okay. Tyler didn't argue with me. Didn't try to explain why I was wrong. He simply let everyone see who he chose offline, left for Emma's place that same night, slept with her, came back and moved me out, started dating her publicly within a week, made it Facebook official, posted photos together, showed our entire social circle who he'd chosen in real life where it actually counted and mattered, and he taught me the hardest lesson I've ever learned. That online absolutely counts. That emotional cheating is still cheating even through a screen. That seeking sexual attention from multiple other people is betrayal, regardless of whether you meet in person. That you can't betray someone digitally for months and then call it harmless. That everyone flirts online is a lie people tell themselves to justify bad behavior. I learned by losing absolutely everything I valued. By destroying my 4-year relationship with my online behavior that I'd convinced myself didn't matter. By watching Tyler choose someone else offline in real life. by sitting alone in Sarah's spare room with all my belongings in boxes, by understanding too late that pixels on a screen represent real betrayal and real choices. The relationship I had with Tyler was real. His loyalty was real. His commitment was real. His plans for our future were real. And I threw all of that away for fake validation from strangers who meant nothing, for online attention that evaporated the second the conversations ended, for digital interactions that felt important in the moment but were completely hollow and meaningless in hindsight. Now, Tyler has something real with Emma, something built on actual trust and commitment, something where both people value each other enough to stay loyal. And I have nothing except the lesson I learned too late.